Ladies and gentlemen, now we shall start our event.
Good afternoon. Accomplishment in the sporting arena inspires everyone. Their sporting feats have raised India's stature. Whenever an Indian sportsperson wins on the global sporting stage, it is an Indian flag that rises. I quote Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. He made this statement when he felicitated medalists from the recently concluded Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast. I, Alka Batra, a GB member FLOW, coordinator W in sports, an HR consultant, and a badminton player. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's session, especially when it promises to be a very exciting one. We have with us the doyens of Indian badminton, Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu, P. Gopichand, and sports journalist Dr. Boria Majumdar. A power-packed panel which each individual stands for with their own special talent and traits, definitely complementing our moment of pride as we bask in the glory of the CWG gold and silver by golden girls of badminton, PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal. We all know that Saina Nehwal plays to win. She has exhibited her grit and determination all throughout and have brought laurels to the nation. A badminton player who made history by becoming the first Indian to ever win Super Series tournament when she won the Indonesian Open in 2010. She is also the first Indian woman to race to the quarterfinals of Olympics. Holds the rank in top 10 world women badminton players. The ace badminton player PV Sindhu created history by entering to finals of women's singles at Rio Olympic 2016. And she also became the first ever Indian woman to win the silver medal in Olympics 2016. She holds the third rank in world badminton, women badminton. Saina and Sindhu, your presence reminds me of nail-biting moments of final match during CWG 2018 when two Indian badminton stars were battling for a silver and gold and had the entire country proudly celebrating their phenomenal win. Very refined, elegant and dignified former Indian badminton player, all-Indian badminton champion, current national coach for the Indian badminton team, Mr. Gopichand. As the coach for both Saina and Sindhu, he adds great significance to the session today. We look forward to hearing his perspective in women in sports from a perspective of a male counterparts. We would also look forward to hearing from him how he manages to bring out the best in ace shuttlers. Also present among us, Dr. Boria Majumdar, an Indian sports journalist, is the moderator of the panel discussion today. Friends, now I request our floor president, dynamic Ms. Pinky Reddy, to give her welcome address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, little boys and girls. It's so nice to see the buzzing of the whole office today, thanks to the young generation. That's what I think gives the life to this. For any event, it's so nice to have youngsters and the excitement and enthusiasm I see on their eyes twinkling. A warm welcome to Sindhu, Saina, Gopi and Boria. And I'm very proud to say they're all from my city. I had the experience of playing badminton with Saina once and getting thrashed to death while she was a little girl. So I think, it's wonderful, and Gopi is like a brother to me. We've worked together on different projects, and I always teased him as he's the Gandhiji. He was born in the wrong time. He's just too much of a gentleman. And I've been introduced to Mr. Boria. I think he is such an enthusiastic and fantastic person. I just got to meet, we've been only on the telephone and I feel I've known him forever. That's his talent. And he's written a bestseller book on cricket, and Flo is giving each one of you all one book to take back home today. I'd like to just have a quote which I'd like to say. This is a quote by a sportswoman, Jackie Joyner Kersey, says, "We live in a world where sports have the potential to bridge the gap between racism, sexism, and discrimination. With these games taught us if a women are given an opportunity on an equal playing field, the possibilities for women are endless. There's nothing a woman cannot do." Don't you think? Don't you agree with me? Yes, so we are always celebrating women. There was a time when Indian women did not have much presence on the national platform in the fields of sports. But now the time has changed, and so is the awareness and opportunity for the women in the country. India has travelled a long destination towards achievement of our women in the sports world. Indian women are making news in areas of sports like badminton, boxing, wrestling, cricket, shooting, etc., once dominated only by men. So I think we really need to give for ourselves. And when the golden girls of Indian badminton swept off the badminton women's singles event in the Commonwealth Games held at the Gold Coast this year, our hearts swelled with pride. I think every Indian, every woman was so proud. And even the men got even more proud that our young girls have brought back such wealth. As Saina backed the gold and Sindhu backed the silver, watching India's top two shuttlers play their hearts out, and it's a very special and powerful sight. Their success stories will definitely inspire young girls to emulate the beacons of hope and eventually foray into the world of cricket and also other forms of sports, thereby enabling sports to grow as a powerful mechanism to empower women. Sports is definitely, I think it really builds a person. You always see a sports person has a solid character. You know, when you always, I think everybody wants their children to be into sports because, you know, you become so focused. That is so important. This is for all the children. It is said that behind every successful man, there's a woman. Here I must say, behind the successful of these golden girls is our dear Gopichand. Pulele Gopichand definitely needs no introduction at all. He is one of those sportsmen in the world whose attitude on and off the fields demands nothing but respect. Gopi is a former Indian badminton player. Presently, he is the chief national coach for the Indian badminton team. He won the All England Open Badminton Championship in 2001, becoming the second Indian to achieve this feat after Prakash Padukone. He runs the Gopichand Badminton Academy. He received the Arjuna Award in 1999, the Dronacharya Award in 2009, and the Padma Bhushan, India's third highest civilian award, in 2014. He looks so young, but imagine the amount of awards he's won. One of the ladies mentioned, my God, he looks so young. You can't imagine he's... To moderate this session, we have Dr. Boria Majumdar, a man who dons many hats with equal elan, sports journalist, historian, commentator, and author. He is a Rhodes Scholar and the first Indian to be awarded as a fellowship to work at the International Olympic Achieves in Lausanne, Switzerland. With this immense knowledge and experience in this field of sports, we look forward to an amazing session today. And Boria, you're the boss. The next 45 minutes, he takes over. Thank you so much. I really owe to all the four of it is really a mission, accomplished mission to get this panel on the stage in Delhi at one time. This is the first time they're all on the stage together. Thank you so much. Okay. Later. We'll do the felicitation later.
You all want to do the felicitation first?
No, later.
Okay, so then
Yeah, we'll go sit.
I'll request wait. If I could ask Harjinder, Pinky and Alka to take their seats as part of the audience, because that way we can talk better. Sindhu, if you can push a little bit up and then I'll move this side, we can start. How do I set this up? Yes, it's a first. It is a first. It's not happened before. All of that is fine. The word sport, my friends from the media, sir, I'm also part of that fraternity and I know that you've got to have your pictures. Let's do 30 seconds and then stop that because the rest of the audience needs to see them. The rest of the audience needs to see. Go for it. Go for 30 seconds. Go for it. We need you to be happy and satisfied because I'm part of you. So once you are satisfied, then I'll go. Happy? Done? Cheers. Once you're done, sir, if you could push back a little bit, let everyone have a clear view of our three champions. Thanks. I'm calling time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play. Once it's play, the umpire will have to say it's done. No more photographs for the moment. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll call you back. Okay, the word sport was used multiple times. That sport creates character, and I'm delighted to see children. I could see school children in the other room. Now, what is it about sport? What is it about sport that normal life doesn't do? You know what? Each of these children, or each of us present in this room, have had our moments of difficulty, our tryst with failure. And when we have failed, be it in examinations, be it in life lessons, we found it extremely difficult to come to terms with failure. We've heard stories where students have committed suicide because they have not been able to deal with failure. Because that is failure in isolation, where you do not have, it's not public. In sport, Sindhu, Saina and Gopi have lost far many times than they've won. Many more times. And each time they have lost in public view, in front of you and me, in front of all of us. And then when they have gone back, they have used their coach, Gopi, parents, Harvirji and Mr. Ramna, recuperated with family support and come back the next day to brace and accept failure. That's what sport does, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we celebrate. 2010 Commonwealth Games, I've actually watched almost all of the matches that these two champions have played and Gopi during his career. 2010 Commonwealth Games, this very city, India was on 100 medals. We eventually passed that mark only once in Commonwealth history between 1930 Hamilton and 2018 Gold Coast, and that was Delhi. 101 medals with 38 golds, and the 38th gold which propelled India to the second spot for the only time in Indian sporting history came from Saina Nehwal. We were knowing that this country is on the cusp of a revolution, ushered in by Gopi and his team. Saina, at that point in time in 2010, was the embodiment of that revolution. Put your hands together for Saina Nehwal. 2016, Rio. 15th of August, India had not won a medal. We were all gloom. All of us from the media, we were all gloom. What's happening? Is this going to be a barren Olympics? 3 days later, just about 3 days later, 8 months without her phone, 7 months without maybe an ice cream. She will have one tonight for sure, today for sure. 4 different games. Michelle Lee, Tai Tzu-ying, Wang Yihan and Nozomi Okuhara vanquished. The only time an Indian stood at the Olympic podium for a silver medal. Put your hands together for PV Sindhu. And now to my very dear friend Pulela Gopichand. I don't know where to start and where to end this. I've got to get on. I've been given 5 minutes for this, so I'm 4 minutes 22 seconds, I think. Okay. It was around 9 p.m. around the 15th, 16th of August in 2016 in Rio, at the gate of the Olympic Village, if I remember from memory, and Gopi was pacing up and down. He hadn't seen me. And I had just finished some work and was coming out of the Olympic Village. So we bumped into each other, and even I had not asked Gopi for an interview, which is what I do every time I see him. Even before I could start, Gopi started. Gopi started saying, he was looking at me, but he was not looking at me. He was looking at me and he was talking India. He said, I'm tired of India coming forth. I'm tired of this. Tomorrow you tell me to come with you to the Christ the Redeemer and run. I will. But let us win. Ladies and gentlemen, in cricket we rule. In the Olympics, after 96 years of competition, it's still one gold medal. In Tokyo, it might change. He's given us Saina. He's given us Sindhu. He will give us more. Put your hands together for Pulela Gopichand. I'm sure you know I set you up. Okay. 2 super champions. Real champions. I mean, India will be genuinely. Can I have a microphone this way? These 2 are real champions the way we understand high performance working. It's not working? Okay, hold on. Let me take that there. Is this working? Yeah. I'll go from there. Gopi, 2 real super champions, real high performance athletes, both going, both at the top of their game. How do you deal with them? I mean, don't tell me they don't have egos. They have to. Don't tell me they don't want to win. They have to. And I keep saying this to him, forget Lakshmi for a while. The title of this is Gopi and his 2 ladies. How do you deal with 2 real champions that this country will forever be proud of? Unfortunately, the microphone's not working. Do we have hand mics by any chance?
Yeah,
it is? Yeah,
working.
go for it. Yeah. Hold on. Do we who's handling audio here? It's on now. Speak for a while.
Yeah. Well, Boria, that was difficult. but for me,
just hold on 1 second. Please, आप लोग बैठ जाइए, नहीं तो कोई नहीं देख पाएंगे. Thank you. Yeah.
But for me, I think the way I look at it, and probably just to answer you this way, I think the way you treat 2 precious diamonds is how I treat both of them.
You had prepared that. I mean, you knew I would come with this one, so you had prepared. Okay. I'll set you up again. Saina, you've never done this. You've never done what I'm now going to do. Please ask your first question to Sindhu.
Favorite actress?
Come on, go for it.
I love Bollywood.
Go for it.
Deepika.
Okay. If I set you up with that same one and ask you to ask a question to Saina, you'll find it very easy.
Yeah.
So I won't do it that way. Harveerji, why don't you, Harveerji, please, you ask your question to Sindhu. I will set you up as well. We've got the 2 fathers. It's never happened. And Mr. Ramna will ask Saina, and Harveerji will ask Sindhu. That's how I'm going to play this today. Okay, Sindhu. Do we have a hand microphone here? Okay, Harveerji, question for Sindhu.
Favorite actor?
To get a medal in Rio, when you left for Rio, we were thinking that the girl is not in a big form, but you brought glory to India in the form of a silver medal. I wish it would have been a gold medal. What compelled you to be, is it your coach or some food from Brazil or something Thank you.
Well, when I went to Rio, I never expected a medal, but I just thought that, okay, I would just give my best and play my game. But round by round, each round, even discussing with Gopi sir, I think it was just that, okay, I have to play well. It was never about the medal, but it was just that each game was very important for us because if you see, when I played with Lee Michel my first round, and it was almost like I lost the first game and second game I won and third game I was down. So at that point of time, it was nothing that, I should get the medal, but it was just that one match. So each match went that way, and I think definitely I would like to thank Gopi sir and also my parents because they've been very supportive, and I think the journey was I can say it's been really good. Like until Rio, and then after Rio, it has definitely changed a lot, but definitely not the food of Rio. So I think a big thanks to Gopi sir and my parents. That made me get the medal.
I'll come to you in a bit, Mr. Amna, so you have time to prepare your question, but I won't leave you. I promised you. Saina, come back after the injury. You thought so soon, so much, so good.
I think there was, as I said, always I had that kind of belief that definitely I can come back and do well, but it was my first experience of having that surgery, so I didn't know how much time will it take for me to come out of it and how will be the future. Actually, when I started playing as well, I never thought I would reach this level so far or would achieve so much in my life. So everything is just like, you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. So I just took it like that, and I just wanted to focus on each day and how to get my strengthening going on well, and then on-court workout. And of course, everything went on fine. And now if I look back at it, I feel a little bit of, it's like an experience. And I'm sure most of the players go through it, and I fought through it, and I came out as a winner, so I'm happy about it, and I'm enjoying this moment now, winning some matches.
Congratulations again. Yes, brilliant. I mean, Gopi, so when your two diamonds play, what do? They were playing the Commonwealth, and there's an afterthought to that question, because I know you will say, oh, I don't watch and stuff like that. Very Gopichand kind of answer. Now, one wins, one loses. That's sport for you. How do you deal with the win for one, and how do you console the other? And they are together when both are being asked by photographers to pose for photographs. So one has to smile.
Well, I think although it might sound different or strange, this is something which happens on a daily basis at the academy or since the time I've been coaching, whether it's young kids who are 13 and 14 playing against each other, or the men's or the women's singles or doubles. It happens much more often than you think it does. It happens almost every day. So I'm prepared for these situations where two of my own students play against each other. One has to lose, one has to win. But the fact is that the winner cannot be satisfied for having won, and the loser cannot lose the confidence for having lost. So I think it's very important that each one has to try and push the bar up, so that in the pursuit of becoming better and better than the other, they beat and reach a higher benchmark. So for me, say an example I would give is a Kashyap would come, and I talked to him saying that what have you played against, say, a Cyril who is a 19-year-old, and I say he should have thrashed him because he's a 19-year-old, and how can you just beat him barely? And then he goes off, and as Cyril comes and I say, what are you doing? And since you're losing to a 30-year-old, and so can't you do better than this? In the sense, will you forever lose to him? And I hope that they don't exchange notes later. Because for me, I think the senior needs to be challenged by the junior, and the junior needs to respect the senior. and that's fundamental in the growth of sport. I think it's very, very important. So when it is Saina and Sindhu playing also, it's the same. I think each one has to push the bar higher for themselves. And if the other person helps them in raising the bar, it's good for me, because in trying to beat each other, if they beat the rest of the world, that's the best thing that can happen.
Wow. Wow. If you actually go, how many of you have been to the Gopichand Academy in Hyderabad? I don't know. There are some hands up, yeah, for sure. If you actually go up, and in front of you there are 6 or 7 people practicing. Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu, Kidambi Shrikant, Sai Praneeth, Pranoy, Samir, all the names in the top 10 or the top 20 of a world sport. It is the temple of excellence in Indian sport with Gopi as the chief priest. That's what he has given to India. And what you just said is happening, Gopi. The junior is challenging the senior, and there is immense respect. So it's actually your dream is coming true. So Sindhu, when you play Saina, any extra motivation to challenge her more, to beat her more, or is it just another game?
I think definitely yes. When it comes to on-court, the challenge should be there for anybody, for me, towards her, or from her side too. So when it comes to the game, I think everybody would have that aggressiveness to give their best and win that match. It's not something that respect at that moment, but off-court definitely yes. And I think when it comes to a match, I think it's one of the matches there.
Excellent. See, the attitude is what makes these two champions so special for Indian sport. Saina, when you see someone like a PV Sindhu rise up in the rankings, win Super Series after Super Series, it's part of a legacy that you have scripted yourself. I mean, you started in 2008 when you did Beijing against Maria Christine Julianti in the quarterfinals. And that was the first time that we had a taste of an Indian woman making it to an Olympic quarters. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Gopi set up his academy in 2004 in Hyderabad. Between 2004 and 2008, including myself, not a single media person entered that academy for an interview. Not one. Now, every day, there are 200 waiting downstairs for an interview. You can see the number of cameras, including my own. So that's the difference. That's the difference. And that's the difference that has been brought about by Saina and Sindhu among, as front runners. So Saina, coming to the question, when you see that kind of a rise, does it sort of motivate you more? That, someone from my ilk, from my city, from my state, from my coach, from my stable doing so well?
I think one positive attitude which I always had is that I wanted to win. I want to win and I want to win. That's it. It's about, if Sindhu plays well, she's doing well for herself, she's reaching at number 3 in the ranking, or Shrikant reached world number 1. So it's all positive sign that badminton is doing well in India. But that doesn't mean that you'll stop yourself from achieving what your, what you want to do actually. So that's the only thing. What I want to do is win, and let us see what is next for me. You never know. Life can change at any moment. According to me, in last 1.5 years, I can see a lot of things have changed for me, and there are a lot of positive things which I look forward to. So, and there are already so many things going in my mind, and I irritate my father, Gopi sir, about it, that I don't have any other things to think about, but just about my matches, whom I play against, and just, of course, he says, if I do any kind of strategy, he says, leave it, you can't do it. So Gopi sir says you should go in the matches without any strategy. So that is the only thing I hear every day, and good training and good sleep, good rest, that's all. And it's about just performing and doing well, and I'm sure all the other players are doing extremely well, so that definitely gives me the motivation to compete and get back and do well.
Gopi, is this a revolution? I mean, will you call it a revolution, or you will say, okay, I want more titles to be able to call it a revolution?
I would think I would want more titles to call it a revolution.
Demanding coach. Okay, you've given us world number 1, you've given us Olympic silver, you've given us Olympic bronze, you've given us Commonwealth gold and silver. Is 2020 going to be the change in color? Do you think that's possible?
Definitely. I think we will have a changed color for sure, and multiple medals also for sure.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Sindhu, when you approach a big match, and this is a question that I'm going to ask both of you, when you approach a big match, you're playing a final against Okuhara or Yamaguchi or Marin or whoever, 17 all, and you turn back, Gopi is there. Turn back, Gopi is not there. What's the difference? Question? Simple. You said don't ask me tricky questions. I'm not asking you tricky questions.
This is tricky. This is tricky.
Okay. Simple. Let's rephrase it. What does Gopi mean to both of you in a critical encounter? What does he bring to the table at that point in time? 17 all deciding game.
I think we blindly believe him. That's the only thing we can do because for me, I think with every player it's a different way of, so for me, especially when it's like 17 all or 20 all or 19 all, it's just that whatever he says, I just believe that. And, sometimes I think, no, maybe I should do something else. But then again, I question myself, no, if I do that, maybe I will not get a point. So I'll shut my mouth and just believe what he says.
Saina?
So, basically you require, someone who is giving you that advice in tough matches. And as I told you that before the match is always like you just go and play. I'm there to help you in crucial situations. And I'm always looking at him when it is like 17 all, 18 all, and he's like, play. So when it comes to 2019, and the thing which he says is always been worked till now for me, for sure. And in fact, in the Commonwealth Games, that was the first time I saw him getting so tensed in the match with Christie. I've never seen him, being on the edge of the chair almost, and he's like, what are you doing? Actually, it was a very... I could feel it was going very easily, but suddenly it changed so much in the second game that she started retrieving everything, and Gopichand was like, do this, do that. In the whole third game, non-stop, I think from first point to 21st point, that was the first time he gave the advice throughout that third game. Otherwise, just the last 2 points always.
She's giving out a little bit on Gopi. Let me give out a little bit on Saina. Saina was playing this Isle of Man girl, and she had thrashed this girl 21-3. Right, Gopi? He revealed the story. Quote unquote, Pulala Gopichand. And this girl had an ankle injury, and Gopi said to Saina, ankle injury, let's sort of loosen it up a bit. And she was like, nope, then she has to give up. So that's Saina Nehwal as well for you. So these are super champions, but Gopi, most importantly, they have won Super Series titles, World Championships, Olympic medals, Commonwealth medals, all medals. What is it that you actually, when you ask yourself at the end of the day, stand in front of the mirror, that you contribute to these two now? What will you tell yourself? Because I know you have a great story. When I asked you this question the other day, and can you tell my audience that story about, in a critical juncture, what you contribute to these people and to Srikanth and the others?
Well, for me, each of these, and when I said about the diamonds, they truly are, because when I look at a Saina, I haven't seen anybody generate that amount of hormones while playing. To be able to pump your fist on point number one and to continue to do that for an hour and a half with that intensity is not normal, because I have seen men fizzle out 5-6 points into it when they push their adrenaline, and that's it. They go flat after that, and they don't have the fizz again, as they say. But she can keep going on and on and on, and day after day she can go, and week after week she can go. That's what the ability she has. For a Sindhu was one of the greatest workhorses you can have, in the sense, in terms of, we would come back at 11:30 in the night, and I'm saying 4 o'clock in the morning. And I haven't till now had her even an iota of doubt in the way she has handled that. Imagine we were at the Olympics, and before the Olympics, I asked her, give your phone. And that's all I said. And I would normally, even if I ask any kid to give something, they would say one time, later, one call, that kind of a thing. And there was she handed the phone over, and that's it, no questions asked. So I've never had her ask me another question.
Hello. Questions were asked in the evening in her own mind. She will tell us that story.
But for me, I think they're so smart that they don't let me know that there is a doubt in their mind.
That's the best part. Sindhu, what happened in the evening, please? After the phone was taken, what happens when you go back home, please, for my audience? No holds barred.
Nothing happened actually. What Gopi sir said was right. He asked my phone, and that day morning after Australia, there was an Australian tournament, and then we came back, and there was almost like 2.5 months, and that is when he was like, I want you to write what mistakes you think, and he just wrote some points, and that phone was one of the point, and about diet, and I just gave my phone, and after that, it's basically like I wanted to achieve something in my life. That was my dream. So for that dream to come true, I can do anything. So I've just sacrificed. I don't say it as sacrifice, but I can just say that, when I wanted to achieve something, it was just that I can do anything for that.
So to what extent will you go? You will take 2 phones away again during Tokyo 2020 or Jakarta of both these girls? Their endorsement people will now go after you, trust me.
See, now everything looks funny and different. Huh? Now, 2006, Saina was a vegetarian. We went to China to eat, to actually train there. And we went there, and it was Chinese New Year. So no veg food was available. So there were like 10 kinds of non-veg on the table. And I said, eat. And the first time she just picked up whatever I gave her and she ate. And there was all kinds of meat there. She did that. That was the first time ever she touched non-veg. So it's like I've gone to their rooms, raided refrigerators to check whether the chocolates were there, took away their phones there. They had laptops, they were watching television, watching videos, took them away. So when they're young, you've done those things. But today, they know what it means. They are hungry. And now it's sometimes that you need to stop them from overdoing it rather than actually pushing them to do it, because they're so super motivated. All you need to do is just ask them to just get back, relax, and then do other things in life comfortably so that their performances will come for sure.
So behind that smile is a pretty dangerous man. Having said that, I mean, and this was a conversation just a week back in Gopi's Academy, and I asked him this, 17 all, a champion player. They know how to play badminton, right? Of course they do. They won 200 medals each. What do you do? What is the thing that you... And he said, you know what? At that point in time, they are in that zone. Their mind is numb. All I want to do is channelize that ability to winning. And goodness gracious me, thank you very much that India has a Pullela Gopichand. I mean, all what he said is fine. Phone and whatever, and Saina's ability, he mentions that about Saina all the time, and Sindhu's ability to come and train at 4:30 in the morning. But Sindhu comes and trains at 4:30 in the morning with who? With Gopi. So from 3rd of January, he keeps talking about people eating whatever. From 3rd of January, right, Gopi? 3rd of January, not a granule of sugar? In fact, where is Ruchika? You've made a big blunder. I had asked Ruchika to get a 70% dark chocolate, which I will get one of the children to come on stage and give to Gopi. This is a celebration. For some reason, he managed to grab that chocolate and put it in his pocket. He's now not willing to give it back to me. So with me, he started the phone syndrome as well. Okay, final round of questioning. Couple more rounds before I open it up. Sindhu, this kind of routine, I mean, Commonwealth Games, you all come back, and then 3 days later an Asian Championship, 10 days later a Thomas Schuber Cup, and then it keeps going and going and going. Do you all actually have time to settle down and train with Gopi and rectify mistakes? And how difficult is it on the body?
Definitely a difficult part, because I think you need to keep yourself fit and strong. And I think if you can see, I mean, we've been traveling a lot, and this year has been like very hectic. And immediately after the Commonwealth Games, we had the ABC, and then we have Thomas and Uber Cup, and after that we have some of the Super Series. So I think training part we have to take care very well, because that is when, you know, injuries are part of life again. So you need to just maintain your fitness, strengthen yourself, and decide what tournaments to play, because, you know, you are the one. So we normally discuss it with Gopi sir, like which tournaments to play, what not to play, what to play, so that we'll have to give our best in all the tournaments. Definitely, yes. You can't just think that, you know, I will take this tournament light. You have to give your 100% in each and every tournament. That's what everybody look for. And I think from my side, definitely we have to pick and choose tournaments and just keep yourself fit and strong and keep going.
Saina, in this room, there are two people. In fact, Gopi also doesn't have that. The two of you have actually seen the tricolour go up in an Olympic stage. Can you describe that? Because we are mortals. We are mortals, and in that sense, when we celebrate you as mortals, maybe you are what, 16 out of a billion people who've been able to do that?
I think it's, of course, we're standing on the podium, but finally it's his medals, I would say. Because it's because of him, I think today me and Sindhu have that medal. And I can see tears in his eyes. When I first won my medal, I was actually seeing him and not the, the flag going up, because that was important for
me. So he embodies
too.
the flag, that's
Definitely.
fine.
He was seeing at the flag, and that was equal for me seeing the flag. But the moment I could see that he was crying there, so, you know, I could sense the amount of hard work he's putting in during that time, because Olympics is something which everyone dreams of. It comes once in 4 years, and it's like a huge medal. You know, everyone wants that medal. When I was a kid, I used to read stories about Milkha Singh just missing it by some fraction of seconds, or PT Usha. You know, it used to be like Olympic medal. My God, you know how it feels. It feels terrible if you lose like that. So the amount of efforts only we know as sports person, what we go throughout the practice session. It's not easy. It's not only about injuries, but it is about a lot of discomfort. It's about you have to be regular every day with the same kind of routine. Some days you're like, oh, we can't do it, but you have to push yourself. You have to give 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours every day, which is very challenging. And he gives, I think, more than 16 to 17 hours. So that's, I think, even more challenging. I think his family is also there because of him in the academy full time, because he never goes home. So it's, all the efforts finally, it showed up in the Olympics with those medals. And I think at that moment, definitely it's about medal and, the flag going up and the feelings there. But definitely after that, in some time, we recollect all those things which we all did in the last, not 4 years now, but from the time we started. So it's very, very precious moments.
Actually, Saina, spot on. In fact, Gopi's mother almost runs the academy as perhaps the admin head. I don't know what Lakshmi does to be able to cope up with this man. But if there is a first family of Indian sport in that sense, it has to be that family. Sindhu, she mentioned looking at Gopi during 2012 London, and I was there. 2016, he was viciously waving at you to try and tell you to do something with the medal and drape the tricolour, if I remember right. What was he trying to do? And then I will come to him for an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think people asked me to buy the medal, but he said, no, she'll kiss the medal. So, and yeah, definitely standing on the podium, as Saina said, you're almost like on cloud nine, I can say, and the flag flying high there, and you're having tears in your eyes. And at that point, I had nothing in my mind. I was just looking at Gopi sir, and there were pictures clicking. Everybody was clicking pictures and everything. But at that point of time, I think I thought, I've achieved, which I've never thought, and that was a dream which has come true. That's what was going in my mind.
Gopi, 2000. You were one of the favorites. I mean, All England happened, Sydney. Just to recount the story for my audience, unfortunately, the flooring where you are seated now was cement in Sydney, and Gopi wasn't used to, there was no sports science at that point in time. So despite going in as one of the best players in that games, unfortunately he wasn't able to make the podium. Are you living your dream with these girls?
Yes, of course.
Can you elaborate what that meant, and when they win, what it means to you? Just, take the microphone up.
Well, for me, I miss the Olympic medal, and for all of us in sport, the Olympic means a lot. And the closest I can get to myself winning the medal is my students winning it. And for me, when I remember Saina in 2011, sometime in October, we had this chat, and I said, for the next few months, and I was very active. Pinky was a chairperson for Hyderabad 10K, and I used to be very active during that period of time, doing a lot of other things. And then I stopped going for all of my meetings, and for almost a year, I stopped going for any second show movies, which I used to go on a Friday evening. All those were stopped. And then we trained, and luckily, God's grace, we won that medal then. I would still say it's God's grace, because an Olympic medal, you can put all of those things, but you can just get a simple cold or a cough, and then you're done with it. So I think the same in 2016 as well. We really prepared well. I spent every day. I remember with Saina, except for one day in the last 6 months, I didn't travel out anywhere. When she was there, I was there in Hyderabad all the time. And with Sindhu also, it was pretty much the same, because I was paranoid about myself getting injured or getting a cold or a cough. So I was very careful about my health and food. And then God's grace, she won the medal. For us, I think in sport, all of us, that Olympic medal means a lot. And for me, it was also probably a little more because I feel I miss my medal in Sydney. They've both thanked me for their medal, but honestly, I feel so great, so thankful to them for actually being able to live my dream through them. I think for me that is important.
I generally agree with you. I generally tend to agree with you. I disagree here. You said by God's grace, God doesn't play dice. God never does. God doesn't play dice. Hard work does. Grabbing your opportunity does. Being best prepared does. And thankfully you've been able to do that with them. Mr. Ramna, your question for Saina. There you go, sir. The other side. Easier. Turn this side.
Hello.
Yeah.
Saina, first let me congratulate you for the Commonwealth
Thank you.
gold medal, and the way you played in the Asian Championship recently also was amazing, and was fighting spirit. And I used to tell Sindhu when she was young, when she has started, I myself being a sports person, love the way you play, because if you're, the spirit, and I always advise Sindhu, you have to play like that. So anyhow, all the best for the future tournaments. And I just wanted to know, how do you take your mind off from badminton?
And very nicely said. Lovely.
So there's hardly any time, of course. You also know, Sindhu and me, all of us are on circuit throughout the year playing tournaments. But I am a big Bollywood buff. I love watching Bollywood movies. I will know each and every news about it. So yeah, I keep doing that. But otherwise, I'm someone who is always into the game, and as I said, troubling my parents or Gopi sir, and you asked Sindhu that question, right? We have very less time in between the tournaments, and how do you improve yourself? So the first thing I do is I come back and ask him about the top 5 players, basically. Now, what to improve, what I have to do next. He's like, cool down sometimes, relax, we'll do it in the next session, we'll do it. So these are the things which actually keeps going in your mind when he says that now they also know how to, keep themselves motivated and keep themselves disciplined for achieving more. So that comes into play. But otherwise, it's only Sundays, Bollywood movies, or of course I have a group of friends, Kashyap, Guru, Pranoy, and Pranav. We hang out together Saturday nights or sometimes whenever we get time. Otherwise, it's just badminton court and back to the house.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, before I open it up for questions, Gopi is not expecting this. Gopi, question for Sindhu, question for Saina.
He was expecting that.
He was expecting it. Wonderful. Then I'll change
He told me
it.
before that.
Oh, he told you. Then I'll definitely change it. But go for it. Question for each other. Change it? Okay, then I'll take 2 questions and change that. Questions from the audience. I can see a hand up. Ma'am, introduce yourself and fire away.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll absolutely take questions from the children. Ma'am, please.
I'm Anu Chindal. I'd like to congratulate all of you for the wonderful performance that you just had. And my question is, I'd like all of you to individually answer it. Common question. You're doing wonderfully in badminton. From what I gather, it's thanks to Mr. Gopichand's efforts. For Indian sport in general, how can more in other sports, how can India come up? I'd like all of you to answer.
Ma'am, that's
because
a
you've
tough
been to
one for
so
them.
many competitions international.
Got you, ma'am. But tough one for them. Let Gopi take that because he's been part of the Prime Ministerial Task Force and many other bodies. So let Gopi take that.
I think, just maybe 2-3 lines about it. I think everyone is improving, everyone is performing extremely well. You see the medals are coming out from wrestling, boxing, and of course a lot of other shooting, and all of them are doing extremely well. But in terms of support and all, what badminton is getting, I can tell you about badminton. I think we are really getting good support from the government, from SAI and Sports Authority of India, and of course our federation. So we are quite happy to see that we are almost 10-15 of us who are in top 50-60 now, who are doing well and playing almost all the tournaments throughout the year, close to 16-17 tournaments. So I think that's what a player needs now, and it used to not happen before 10 years. It was not like that. The situation has changed a lot, it's improved a lot, and I'm sure in the future it will change a lot more. But I can see there are a lot of medals coming up, so maybe some improvement is required, but as of the thing going right now, I think it's perfectly all right for all the sports persons.
Okay. Yes, there's a child there. Yeah, please.
First, since the
Take your time. Don't worry.
it is the first time in the history of Indian badminton that 2 players are in the top 5 and serious contender to be number 1 and 2 in the world. So many congratulations for that. I have one question. First, since the 2 of you have such a varied game, have you ever thought of playing doubles at the international stage?
Me and Saina have played some of the tournaments doubles. So mainly our event is singles, but I think doubles we've played in Thomas Uber Cup, and also when we were in BPCL we've played in the team matches. So it was always fun, 2 singles players playing doubles, and it was good also because we actually move well. So it's nothing like maybe somewhere the coordination, but I think movement wise it's been very good. So,
Okay. Some more questions. I'll take children, students. Yeah, go for it.
Good afternoon. My question is to both Saina ma'am and Sindhu ma'am. Actually, everyone knows that Gopi sir is quite calm and composed. Has he ever screamed at you or just scolded you badly?
Oh yeah. Sindhu, Saina, whoever wants to take that.
He does, like how your teachers do. He's like a friend outside. Of course, when we lose a match, it's not like one time losing throughout the year. It's going to be many times, so you can't be like really, on the kid always. But he's outside the court he's really nice the way he tells you about the matches, but on court, yes, he gets very serious. And that's how I think we both have the attitude of working also very hard. So we get little less scoldings, but we do see others getting a lot of scoldings.
Okay, more. Yeah, the girl there. Yeah, the lady there. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
My question is again both to PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal. I wanted to ask what encouraging words do your coach tells you when you lose the match? Or how do you move on from that?
Well, definitely after losing a match, we are sad, and I think Gopi sir, he has to deal with many players, not only us. There are many players who have different mentality and the way they think, especially coming towards me. Yeah, I mean, when I lose matches, I'm sad, or he just comes and asks me that, what's wrong, what's happening, because he also wants to know what's in your mind, and I think that's how he tells that, this is what you did and what should be done next. So that's how he deals with us.
My photojournalist friends, sir, please agar baith jaye, dekhiye piche koi nahi dekh pa raha, please. Yes.
My question is to Sindhu, that how did you feel when you lost against Berwin Zhang in the Sunrise Open?
Yeah, I mean, the Indian Open was a very close match, I can say, and losing towards her, I think for me it was a bad day, because I lost the first game and won the second game, and third game it was like 20 all, it was anybody's game, and I was looking at Gopi sir, what should I do, what's next, and he was just that, just play your game. And after losing, it was really sad, because at that point of time you are like 20 all, and it was winning tournament for you, and I just felt bad about it, and I think I haven't spoken to Gopi sir after that.
So, Sindhu, we actually saw your Sunrise Open this year finals and last year when you played against Carolina Marin. So we were really privileged because we were not there to see the Olympic finals, and we got to see your encounter with her, which was just fabulous last year.
Thank you.
This year we were sure you'll win, you'll beat Bevan Zhang, and we were like, how did this just happen? So you were fabulous.
Thank you.
One more question from the junior most member. Yes, ma'am.
When you're not playing badminton, what do you do?
Well, I think it's more of tournaments, and we keep traveling a lot, and I think when we get an off, just spend time with family or go for movies. That's what we do.
Okay, to close this now, I had asked Gopi an easy one, and Saina said he was prepared for that. 2020, Saina versus Sindhu, an Olympic semi-final or a final. Let's make it a final. Let's try and make this romantic. Gopi, Saina versus Sindhu, Olympic final. I'm not saying who wins, who loses, forget about that. Both win medals for India in that 2020 final. You're supposed to give gifts to both. What are you giving? Don't tell me you're not giving anything, because that won't work with me.
Whatever they ask for.
Okay, ask. Sindhu, ask, please. Ask for something serious.
100%.
Ask for something serious, man. Don't ask for something. Don't ask for an ice cream. Something serious.
Yeah, you never know. There might be new things coming up in 2020. I'll ask.
I gave you the chance. There's media. There are my friends. We would have you on record. Gopi would promise right here. Saina, you grab the chance.
Promise
Come on.
is on record. Don't worry.
Okay.
Dr. Majumdar, I just wanted to say one thing. You said, India has given us Pulela Gopichand. We just had an encounter with Milkha Singh some time back. And the one thing that he said, that after him, there is only one coach in India which one can depend on, and that was Pulela Gopichand. Yeah.
Saina.
I think he needs some time off. I would just ask
They're good students, are always good students. Anyway, let me get Pinky back on stage and carry on with the rest of the program. But what you said, ma'am, about Milkha Singh, 45.6 seconds in that 1960 Rome final. in the semi-final, breaking the world record, and then 45.9 in the final, with the top 4 all breaking world records, was something magical. 77 out of 80 races he's won in his lifetime. So he remains an absolute legend of Indian sport. But to go a step ahead, Sachin Tendulkar from cricket has won the first Bharat Ratna for Indian sport. Maybe 2020 and that gold medal. And maybe this Vicky Auditorium, maybe Saina and Sindhu can ask the government, is it time for Pulela Gopichand?
Thanks, Boria. You kept up your promise. He said, I will see to that you have a rocking event. So what do you think? How do we rate his event? Thank you so much. He just flew in from Calcutta and he's leaving now in an hour. So it's really, I really have to thank you for this. And I have to share a couple of things about Gopichand, which I couldn't resist. We both were part of the Hyderabad 10K, the first marathon run in Hyderabad, in India actually. So we both were the brand ambassadors. We used to go to people, to schools and colleges and say, come on, you have to run, you have to do marathon. And it used to be so much of fun. We used to do it, and we took him out of his badminton spot and we started talking about marathon running. See, I think I was bad influence on him. So thank you so much for being a fantastic audience. Can I request Mukta Jain, our past president, and Vasri Bharatram, we'd like to felicitate us, our diamonds. Thank you so much. Really. Please stay here. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was fantastic. They're lovely girls. Such a pleasure. Girls from Hyderabad are all very good. Yes, I can say that. I can say that. Yeah, please. It's a very So this, we got you some healthy snacks. Healthy snacks.
The chocolate is in his back pocket.
The chocolate is in my bag. And that is, come.
Heavy one, I think you can carry better.
Quite heavy. This is a beautiful, it's a trophy. You can use as a leg lamp. Please give it, Vasi. Come. That I'll give. There's a lot of stuff in this. Yeah, come. There's something sorry, I can see why these two girls are so good. And these thanks for you also.
Look here,